What is up, YouTube? KidMoto22 here, and today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about riding while you're in pain. So let's do it. So welcome back, YouTube. KidMoto22 here, and it's just me today. I'm not with Mrs. KidMoto. No dual vlog. Got nobody riding with me. And I wanted to touch on a subject that's pretty personal with me right now, and that's riding while you're in pain. Just kind of I guess a literal and figurative riding while you're in pain situation that can be both good and bad. So for me, I had a personal tragedy lately that I've been dealing with, and that's why I did not post last week. I've been posting pretty regularly, every week now for a few months, and I did not post last week because of that situation. And also, if you didn't know, the Midwest Moto Meetup 2020 that was supposed to be in September in Louisville, Kentucky, that was going to be hosted by the Five Dirty Bikers podcast that I'm involved in, that has been postponed. So I've had a few things that have just been going on right now in my life, and it's kind of like the hits just keep coming. So I thought I'd touch on that for a few minutes today, get out, ride for a few minutes, and do just an individual moto vlog, since I haven't put out just a straight-on traditional moto vlog in a while, and talk to you guys a little bit about you know, what that means to me and what riding in pain is like, I guess, you know. So I guess there's two things. You know, you have the kind of literal riding in pain where, you know, maybe you're on a long road trip and you're actually feeling some road fatigue. That's certainly the literal meaning of riding while you're in pain, right? And there are some repercussions to that. So some things that you definitely need to do differently when you're riding and you're feeling that road fatigue, when your body's in pain, when your butt hurts, your legs hurt, your hips hurt, your arms and shoulders hurt. And really, I've learned that now from a few long road trips I've been on. And you really need to adjust your riding style for that kind of, you know, physical pain that you're feeling when you're on a long road trip, because it's a real thing, right? There's a real pain involved in taking a long road trip, and it's not good, bad, or indifferent. It's just kind of part of the process. Riding a motorcycle for a long period of time is going to bring you a little bit of physical pain. At least I've found there's almost no way to completely set up your motorcycle so that you're 100% pain-free, right? There's just going to be some things about it that are gonna, on a long trip, are gonna cause you some discomfort. And we do all these things to mitigate that, right? So we get a different seat. I put different bars on my bike. We put highway pegs on our crash bars to change the position of our legs and our feet and our hips. So we do all these things to kind of mitigate that pain, but it's a thing, right? You can't get past it. You just have to learn. There's two things I've learned. Number one, some of it you got to push through, right? Some of it you got to just push through the pain, the physical pain, and you're gonna find yourself on the other side of it, and you're gonna be able to continue your ride. Some of it is going to cause you to lose focus. It's going to cause you to make decisions while you're riding that are poor. And so those kind of situations are going to be the ones where you need to pull over, right? You need to not be riding any longer and you need to give yourself a break and get off your bike. There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually probably the most healthy way to ride, is to give yourself a break from that physical pain, get off your bike, take a break. And I have found, for me, they don't always have to be long breaks. Sometimes you can pull over at a gas station, fill up with gas, get a drink, drink some water, and get some fluids on board, go to the bathroom, kind of take that like little quick break, and that kind of break like that can be incredibly refreshing and get you right back on the road and ready to keep going. There are other times when that kind of break is not going to cut it, that you need to get off your bike and you need to stretch. You need to, stretch your shoulders, stretch your arms, stretch your legs, move around, get out of a sitting position. And, sometimes that's where you need to maybe stop and have a meal, right? Stop and have lunch somewhere, or have dinner, or depending on how you're riding. Sometimes that just requires a longer break. Maybe you need to get out of the weather. Maybe you're in a situation where the weather's bad and you need to get out of the rain or something like that. So, that's the one type of pain that is certainly something that you need to be cognizant of, right? The kind of pain that I've been going through has been more of that, kind of that mental anguish. Check out the mobile grooming service. I think that thing is so funny. So the kind of pain that I've been feeling lately for myself has been that kind of mental anguish. We had all of us in the 5 Dirty Bikers collectively decided that the most responsible decision is going to be to postpone the Midwest Moto Meetup. As much as we didn't want to, with the situation with COVID going on in our country right now, it was the right decision to make. We had to postpone the event. It was getting to the point where the rules, the governor in Kentucky had made it so that you couldn't have groups of 10 or more. We anticipated that the event was going to be more than 10 people. Gathering in groups was going to be difficult. Everybody was going to have to be masked. And we really did not want to be responsible for people getting sick. That was the last thing that we want on our conscience. It's going to be difficult enough running those group rides and everything else that we have going on at that event. And people getting sick from a global pandemic was not one of the things that we really wanted to be responsible for. And so the responsible thing to do was to postpone. Is it something that we wanted to do? No. It's not something that that any of us was excited about, but it really just was the most responsible thing to do. I mean, nobody wants to, like I said, be in a situation where you have people getting sick because of because of a global pandemic. That's just not, we are not in a situation where we want to feel responsible for people getting sick. And so that was the first thing that kind of was a, we've all been looking forward to MMM, and so that was a, I'm going to be 100% honest, that was a huge letdown that we had to postpone that. I had been planning my whole season around this ride across the country, and it's not going to happen. And so that was a pretty major letdown. I've got another thing in the works. I don't want to put it out there quite yet, but I will be bringing you content from another ride, and I don't know what that's going to look like yet. Obviously, I brought you content from my trip to Duluth, and I have some more content to come out from that trip. Our last 2 days of riding, I have yet to get that out there, but that will be coming shortly. Mrs. Kid Moto are going to get out and do a dual vlog. Mrs. Kid Moto and I are going to get out and do a dual vlog on that and give you our final assessment of that situation and that ride for us, and what everything entailed there. And so we have that coming up, and that'll be the remainder of the content from that. And then, like I said, our little wrap up of the ride. So we have that coming, And and then I have this other ride that I have planned, or that I'm working on planning, so I have that in the works. So stay tuned, I have some more of that content coming out there. But the pain beyond the Midwest Moto Meetup, I had a personal tragedy in my family, and it was definitely one of those that makes you take stock. It really makes you reflect a lot, and I've been doing that over the course of the last couple weeks. And it made me think of two things. So the first thing I thought about was I rewatched a video from Being Here Now with Percy. If you don't know who he is, go check him out. And Percy was talking about how his motorcycle was a tool that he was using as a catalyst for change in his life. The motorcycle was not the answer. He had to make the changes. The motorcycle was a tool to help facilitate some of those changes, as it gave him an outlet for some of his feelings. It gave him an outlet to clear his head, much like we all talk about wind therapy, right? So a motorcycle is not going to solve your problems. So if somebody tells you that buying a motorcycle is going to solve all your problems, I can tell you this right now, that's not the case. It's not going to do that. But a motorcycle can help you cope with some of the things that you have going on in your life. A motorcycle can give you that, you know, that sense of purpose. A motorcycle, in my case, besides giving me the adventure and the freedom that I want, a motorcycle gave me a community that I had been lacking. That community has been built around the 5 Dirty Bikers Discord. That community has been built around the 5 Dirty Bikers, those people that I call my friends and family that I meet up with once a week to record our podcast. The community has been built up of other people in the motovlog community that I have become friends with and have come in contact with, that I talk to on a fairly regular basis. That was the community I was lacking in my life. You know, you go through stages in your life, and I was definitely, over the course of the last few years, in desperate need of that sense of belonging that was more, that had a deeper connection than I had with my current friendships and relationships. And motorcycling was a catalyst for that. I've had motorcycling in my life. Obviously, if you follow me on Instagram and you know anything about me, or you've listened to any of the podcasts, or you've listened to any of my other motovlogs, motorcycling has been a part of my life since the 80s. It hasn't always been a constant, right? It has been one of those things that drifted in and out of my life. I was in motorcycling when I was a kid for about 5 years, and then I was away from it. I was away from it till my mid-30s, right? And then I got a bike, I started riding again, and that time gave me the bug. Family situations happened, I had to sell my bike, I sold my bike, and when the right time came back, I got back in it. I got my my Harley Nightster, and I knew when I got that Nightster that I was going to be in it for the long term. I knew at that point that there was going to be a time, there wasn't going to be a time unless I couldn't ride anymore, unless I was injured or something, you know, some, you know, huge financial situation put me in a situation where I couldn't have a bike, that I was going to have a bike at that point, from that point on, until I couldn't ride anymore. I found the thing I was missing. I had not been around it for a long enough period of time that I knew I needed to be back into it. I knew I needed to be back into it and stay in it after that, because it's given me all these things that I had been missing in my life, all of the community that I had been missing, all of the pieces of all the pieces of life that I had been that had been lacking for me, it helped fill those voids, right? But it didn't solve all the problems, and it doesn't solve all the problems, right? So it's not, motorcycling is not going to make it better. It's not going to, in my case, take the pain away. It's not going to, it's not going to do that. And what I learned over this period of time about riding while you're in pain is that, holy shit, you need to stay vigilant. Riding a motorcycle is no joke. And if you are not on your game when you're riding, and you're not focused, and you're not in tune to what's going on around you, you are going to get yourself into trouble. You have to continue to stay vigilant. You cannot get lost in your mind and all of a sudden realize, oh, was that a stop sign? Did I signal? That's not how riding a motorcycle works. You have to be on top of your game, because you have to consider that every single person in a car is out to kill you. I mean, they're not looking out for you. Especially where I ride in a cold weather community. In a cold weather community, the people, the cagers, the people in the cars, they are not looking out for me. I do not have a long enough riding season that people routinely see motorcycles all the time. Just like that person in the car right there. I had to make sure that I could see that they were looking my direction. If not, I better be making the appropriate adjustments to think that that person's going to pull out in front of me at any second. Because if you're not staying vigilant, you are going to get hurt. I knew this. I knew this about motorcycling, and I will freely admit I broke my own rule riding in the last 2 weeks. I've gone on 3 rides in the last 2 weeks to try to clear my head. And one of those rides in particular, I had no business being on a bike. None whatsoever. I was lost in thought. I was not focused. I, a couple of times, stopped and pulled over and wasn't really paying attention to signaling when I stopped, to, you know, all of these things that I should have been doing, I didn't do. And that was a huge mistake. That was a huge mistake on my part, that I was not paying attention and being as focused as I should have been when I was riding, because that is how you are going to get yourself hurt. I was not, as Blockhead says, being vigilant, and you can't do that. So essentially the lesson that I learned is that, you know, you really have to stay focused, stay focused and stay vigilant when you're riding, even when you're riding in pain. And lastly, I'd just like to say this. Life is not what happens to us. Life is how we react to those things, be it positive or negative. We choose our reaction to the situations that we're forced to deal with, be it positive or negative. And you can make the best of those situations, or you can choose to handle them negatively. And I'm not saying that's easy. I'm just saying it's necessary. It's necessary in life right now to stay positive, to keep your head up, to the metaphor of riding a bike, keep moving straight forward. Because if you don't, things are going to happen to you in life that are going to eat you up, and they're going to eat you alive. And you just have to stay positive. I've chosen in my life, with the things that have happened most recently, that I got to stay positive. I have to focus on those good things. And those good things being the wonderful people in the 5 Dirty Bikers podcast that I get to work with every week. I mean, these are good people. Wet Banana Mike, Tony Cox, D-Cycle, Mary the Geared Raven. If you guys don't know them, get out there. Follow them on Instagram, follow them on social media, follow them on YouTube. Good people doing good things. Great friends of mine. And our podcast is just this great positive thing that has been so much fun, and people are really liking it. So there's that. There's the Discord community that's being built around that I mentioned earlier. Great positive thing. Great place. If you don't know about the Discord, 5 Dirty Bikers Discord, on the Discord chat server, you can go look it up. It is free. Just join. If you're into motorcycling, if you love motorcycles, even if you don't have a motorcycle but you want to get one, there's wrenching talk in there. There's music talk, motorcycle talk of all kinds. Tons of good people on that. Tons of other people in the motovlog community that post their stuff on there. That, you know, it's just it's a great place to you know, a great positive place. We've built that to be a positive environment. It's, you know, we don't have people on there causing trouble. We don't have, you know, it's not full of politics. It's not, you know, it's motorcycle centric. But it's not just motorcycles. It's you know, you're building a community. You're getting to know people. There's lots of stuff that 5 Dirty Bikers put up there that that you can be a part of. So, you know, hit that up. That's another positive thing. And lastly, I have to give a big shout out to my family. My wife and my kids have been absolutely my rock, and have been my saving grace through this time that I've been going through. And I cannot express to you how great that has been to have the support of my family. So maybe I hit you up with a bunch of sappy shit that you didn't want to hear, but I needed to put it out there. I haven't posted in a week. I've been posting pretty regularly, and I missed last week, and for good reason. I couldn't do it with everything that I had going on. I had to focus on my family, and that's kind of what happened there. So, but if you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up. If you want to hear more of my content, you can subscribe. It's going to be down here, I don't know, up here maybe. I'll put another video link that you should check out, something else of mine that you might like, that you should check out. And if you like what I'm doing, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and you'll get more things from Kid Moto. I appreciate y'all watching. Thank you guys. This is Kid Moto. I'm out.